keeps turning. The world keeps turning. The world keeps turning. These lessons manifest. Every lesson learned. If your knowledge were your wealth, it would be well earned. We're in His image, then call us by our names. 'Cause intellects do not believe in God, but they fear us just the same. Y'all feel that? Whoa, whoa, God damn it, I'ma sing my song. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on, Conscious Crew? It is your host, Conscious TV, of course, and I am here. You know what I'm thinking? I should have actually did this in the damn Patreon, honey. This feels like more of a Patreon conversation, but from now on, it probably will be more of a Patreon. These will be more Patreon topics, honey, because these type of teachings be a little bit too advanced for the main platform. However, good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. Okay, I want you guys to thumbs up if you're in the building. Okay, if you're new here, definitely hit that subscribe button, and for sure keep up with, hit that notification bell as well, so that you can keep up with all of the latest uploads from the Conscious TV platform. Before we get into this dialogue, Monday is going to be very interesting, okay? Major things happening on Monday. I'm not going to spoil it, though. You guys will just have to wait and see what's happening. If you did not check out this week's Gentlemen's Panel, definitely check out this week's Gentlemen's Panel, okay? The link is also in the community feed. We had a great show right here on the platform. What's going on? Don't ask me shit. No, I want to hear this. Good morning, honey. I don't know why I'm wide awake and giving y'all this word this morning, but it was on my heart, and I tend to be obedient to the Lord these days. Okay, I am a mystic who is learning my disciplines in life. Okay. The Gentlemen's Panel was interesting because there was a young woman by the name of Shanika, I believe, and she had asked us about how to find herself spiritually, really particularly when it came to Christianity. She had a issue with racism and has an issue with the fact that as Black and brown people, we are kind of taken on the religion of our oppressor. Some people might be unaware, but Christianity was not invented by Europeans. Actually, the oldest version of Christianity stands within Africa, in Ethiopia, to be specific. And it's the oldest version of Christianity standing. Now, it is a different type of Christianity than what the colonizers indoctrinated us with. And of course, religion is a issue and a big topic all by itself. So there's just a lot to unpack when it comes to spirituality and religion, etc. It's just a lot. However, it kind of sparked some trains of thought that I want to go over briefly in this video and commentary. this morning. And as you guys can see from the title of this video is They Died and Came Back to Tell Us What Happened. Now, one of the gentlemen on the gentleman's panel had made an interesting statement that I have heard relentlessly throughout my life, which was, nobody ever died and came back to tell us. Well, that actually would not be true. For 21st century modern day contemporary people, because of technology, because of our ability to resuscitate people and to bring them back from out of death. We now actually have well-documented NDEs, also known as near-death experiences, where people actually have clinically died. Everything from suicide to attempted murder to dying in car accidents, drownings, leaping to your death, falling to your death. People have died under all type of various circumstances and live to tell us about what happens the moment that their hearts stop beating. Okay. And everyone from all walks of life have reported these experiences, from atheists and unbelievers themselves. Can you believe that? People who actually don't believe in God, don't believe in hell, don't believe in heaven, don't believe in religion, don't believe in spirituality, have died and had near-death experiences or afterlife experiences, okay? Experiences so profound, experiences so powerful that they have led to conversions, people converting from being atheists to being believers. Everybody from Christians, from Jehovah's Witnesses who don't believe in a afterlife as well. They believe you die and you rest, and then you await the judgment, and then you go to your spiritual inheritance. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses have also died and have been resuscitated and came back to tell us that could be contrary to the truth, honey, that there is no sleep. There's lots of activity, lucidity, and awareness after death, honey. Muslims, children, women, men. I mean, people from all walks of life. You even had scientists and medical doctors themselves who have side-eyed near-death experiences when their own patients would come back and tell them about these experiences out of their body, these experiences with God, these experiences on the other side. And then those medical professionals themselves have fucking died and experienced near-death experiences as well. So we have not only the testimonies of just everyday layman persons, but of working professionals who have died under various circumstances, whether it be cardiac arrest, whether it be heart failure, all these aneurysms, seizures. So we have people who are trained with the scientific eye to have a scientific view of life, to have a medical view of life, also come back powerfully transformed from these experiences. And so we now cannot deny the validity of near-death experiences, because the witnesses thereof make up almost damn near every demographic and every person from multitudes of walks of life. Okay. And some of these experiences are so incredible. They defy logic. They defy rationale, that they've actually gone down and have to be documented within medical journals around the world. That means that right now, students, medical students who are going for their master's and their undergrad, who are looking to be nurses and doctors, now within their academia lies a whole chapter dedicated in their academia, in their state standard approved academia books, have sections dedicated to near-death experiences. This is an area that is of real interest to modern day science, the study of consciousness, how consciousness interacts with the body, how consciousness interacts with the brain. What is consciousness? What came first, the brain or consciousness? And we're making some astounding discoveries about the nature of consciousness and how it interacts with our brain and how it shapes reality. Scientists are actually now stating that they now believe that consciousness created the brain, whereas scientists used to believe that the brain created consciousness, but now it's the other way around. Okay. So I find this to be very, very much so intriguing information. Okay. When you guys did this live, I want you guys to type into YouTube Pam Reynolds, NDE. One of her experiences. Well, not one of her experience, her experience. Literally mind blowing. It's also one of the NDEs that have made it into medical and scientific journals around the world. Mind blowing stuff. So, I wanted to say first and foremost, yes, that there is life after death, honey. That this life is temporary. There is a reality and an ultimate reality beyond our physical ones. Now, the philosophical question is, what is it? Um, because not only have people had near death experiences of going to heaven and being with God and being reunited with their loved ones, but they've also had near death experiences of hell, which was also interesting because on the last gentleman's panel, I asked the panel, did they believe in hell? And what's interesting is that also people who didn't believe in hell went to hell in their NDEs. Okay. People who thought they were good people went to hell in their NDEs. What's also fascinating about that is bad people went to heaven in their NDEs. People who committed suicide, you know, we were taught religiously that if you committed suicide, that your soul would be condemned to hell. Well, there are plenty of near-death experiences from people who committed suicide who actually did not bust hell wide open. They actually bust heaven wide open. And so these experiences have led to a lot of re-examining, okay, of spiritual literature, whether it be the Quran, whether it be the I Ching, whether it be the Bible, you know, these metaphysical texts, especially those who have these very polarizing descriptive concepts of the afterlife. Okay. And what's really going on here. Okay. Now the scriptures say a plethora of things about death, which is where a lot of denominations kind of they kind of start splitting off into a lot of different directions. Okay. Because, you know, like I said, the Jehovah's Witnesses believe that you just sleep until judgment day. Some Christian sects believe that you go into an afterlife immediately upon death. Okay, that could be heaven or hell. Some Christian sects even still believe in purgatory, which is you go into kind of a holding space, okay, before the collective judgment of humanity, where the wheat will be separated from the tare. So there's like, and you can find basis for all of these concepts within the Bible itself, which is why some people end up more confused dealing with the Bible than with any sense of clarity, because there's a little bit of everything going on. Now, in my personal understanding, I don't think that these things are mere contradictions. I think that based upon my studies and my understanding, I've been able in my own personal cosmology of the universe, of the afterlife, been able to see how it's not a matter of one over the other, that we're talking about a series of astral or spiritual planes that exist, that the soul can vibrate to at points in times of strong trauma, or where there is a temporary lapse in consciousness, aka the death experience. Because there aren't just one spiritual plane or no spiritual planes or just only two spiritual planes, heaven or hell. There's a multitude of astral planes that exist. Okay, the soul harmonizes depending on where your thoughts and feelings are vibrating. The soul fluctuates upon all these different planes of existence. Now, where you land on that hierarchy system upon death is probably based upon a lot of complex shit having to do with um what you felt, how you felt emotionally and mentally at the time of your death, where your overall vibration was in your life at the point of your death experience. I mean, there's all type of shit, okay, that probably tailors into what happens to you, what you experience upon death. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, K Rain. I love my ancestors. You have two Phoenix Diamond. Good morning. And so I find this very, very, very telling. Okay. One of the things that I find very, very fascinating about a lot of the near-death experiences where people have gone to hell is being raised in the Christian church. You've heard it being said that pretty much your afterlife is your final destination. Okay, that it's the ultimate destination. It's the last destination wherever you end up at, whether it's heaven or hell. But what's interesting about all of the near-death experiencers who went to hell upon their death experience, they all lived to tell about it. And what was interesting is that even though they died and went to hell, what freed them, and this is unanimously across the board, if you read any type of research, any type of books, and they have plenty of them, Journeys Outside of the Body by Robert Monroe, they have lots of books that have these kind of like compilation of verified near-death experiences, and whole books and chapters and shelves dedicated to people's journeys to heaven and hell. But in all of the near-death experiences where people went to hell, not only did they all come back to be able to tell us about it, um, one of the things that I found that happened in all of their experiences is they all called out to God when they went to hell. And what was interesting about that is God came. God pulled people out of hell and realigned them back with their bodies. And this is contradictory to the Christian notion that hell is the final destination, and that hell has no redemptive property, um which is also incongruent with my own personal view of hell, which maybe we can get into a little bit. What's going on, Yasmin? Hey. So before we get into the near death hell experiences, I'm gonna tell you my interest, my cosmology, a little bit about the afterlife. Okay, Rupatum tum. I don't believe that Christ, because I consider myself a Christian mystic. I also don't mind labels like witch. I don't mind labels like just mystic. But I consider myself a Christian mystic. And I'm okay with all the other labels that people put on spiritual people. A metaphysician, all of that good jazz. I'm all of the above. I don't believe that Christ came to um how can I say this? Because I want to be very. Let me sit the hell up. Yeah, we get into repentance too. Yeah. I'll probably open up the stream too and allow you guys to come in and chime in on this discussion. I wish I really would have did this in Patreon, but I'm here now. So I don't believe. I ain't been asleep yet. I probably should be having this conversation on a full on full lucidity. I don't believe that Christ came to reunite man with an afterlife per se. I believe Christ came to align man, okay, with heaven right here, right now, with joy right here, right now. A big part of Jesus's ministry was this constant affirmation that the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven is at hand right now. right now. The kingdom is at hand. The kingdom is at hand. The kingdom is at hand. Can't you see the kingdom? Don't you see the kingdom? Reborn again so you can bear witness to the kingdom, to the kingdom. His emphasis was on the kingdom. Okay, a kingdom around a state of consciousness that was available to all men, but did not and could not perceive or access that state of consciousness because of their own egotism, which is inclusive of a lack of faith, which is inclusive of their own ignorance, which is inclusive of a heavy pain body, aka trauma, aka sadness, aka confusion, etc. You can just, run down the laundry list of all of the things that prohibit us all from being able to perceive the realm of the divine or be able to experience the realm of the divine. And Christ came to awaken man to this, which is what it means to be reborn again. Do you really know what being reborn again really is? I mean, being reborn again is really synonymous to just being enlightened, okay? Being enlightened. And the same process you go through to be reborn again is really the same process that you go through to be reborn again, which is a willingness to forget what you think you know, a willingness to invite your creative thought and your naivety about the world, to invite that back into your life, because Christ is also quoted in scripture saying that no man may see or perceive the kingdom unless they come in the likeness of a child, in the spirit of a child. And what he's talking about is the essence of children who still have this openness and this optimism and have this neutrality that allows them to kind of be in the world but perceive kind of all worlds because their imagination is still strong. They haven't developed a strong attachment yet to the physical reality, because as we get older and we mature and we go through puberty, the more that our ego body is growing as well. And as the ego grows up with us, okay, it begins to take on its own priority in our lives as young adults, okay? We go from playing with our toys and our imaginary friends and thinking and experience the world in a wonderment to then, okay, being focused on boys and being focused on clothes and being focused on what young people are focused on, rebelling, doing things you shouldn't, looking at your parents' porn in private, all the things that just, make us crazy. These are the things that set in, okay, as we become older. And so as we become older, and that ego body grows up with us, it's maturing with us, it's informing us, okay, it's shaping our perception of ourselves. It has its own priority and awareness about the world. As that grows up with us, it begins to dull down our connection to the other realm. It begins to dull down and desensitize us to the whispers of the divine, the presence of the divine, okay? And so to be reborn again, okay, to be baptized in the Holy Spirit, okay, is to be submerged back into the divine self. That's what water represents, the spiritual plane, the divine self, okay, the ethereal body, okay, to be to acknowledge again your divine nature, to acknowledge that again, to awaken to that again, okay? So that you can then perceive the divine within all living and non-living things. Steffi Hines says, thank you so much. I need this because I have a daughter who is into this and I love her and I kind of understand her because I too have struggled with this. It can't be prayed away. Trust me again. Thanks. Okay. Steffi, can you go a little bit more into detail about exactly what the struggle is. Yaya says, my mom, God rest her soul, used to say some people get their hell right here on earth. Amen. Hey, AA, good morning, sugar. And so to be reborn again is to be enlightened again about the world, okay? To kind of step out of this fixation upon being such an adult in your life, and acknowledging that you are not only body, but you are also soul. Okay? That you are also soul. Christ has went further to say that man should not live off bread alone, that we can't sustain our lives truly simply from just being human alone and doing what humans do alone, because we need spiritual things, because we are spiritual beings. All of the virtues are spiritual, whether that's peace, whether that's love, compassion, kindness, non-material, non-physical things. Okay, we need these things to thrive. We need these things to thrive in such a way that, do you know that babies, newborn babies will I forgot the term for it, but they will actually die. I think it's called a crib deaths, or there's another term for it, but newborn babies can actually die if they don't experience human contact. If the child is not touched and hugged and picked up enough, that a baby will actually die because it is not getting the affection and the nurture that it's that it needs. Okay, this starts to symbolically happen as adults when we spend too much, or things happen in our lives, and we either separate ourselves from community and separate ourselves from love. Maybe it's because we begin to distrust humans. Maybe it's because of the pain of relationships and the disappointment and the breakdowns in our lives that act as a catalyst for us to, enter into depression and strife and self-loathing, and we begin to see a breakdown in our own lives out of that lack of connection to our own divinity, but the divinity within other people, the divinity within the world. Out of that, it's given birth to all type of addiction: sexual addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, greed and materialism, narcissism. There's all type of insidious shit that just becomes us when we spend time disconnected from our divine nature. The worst parts of our humanity actually manifest as a result of that disconnectedness. Okay. Hey, Morgan, what's going on? Hey, lovely. Hey, Perp. And so, getting back to near-death experiences, it was interesting to me that all of the people who went to hell, all it took was for them to just cry out from the depth of their soul to be saved, to cry out to God, to cry out to Christ, to cry out to whomever they were taught to cry out to, or they felt they needed to cry out to, and boom, God, the divine, shot through the darkness and the despair and the ridiculousness of hell, and captured these people and pulled them out of that abyss. And that is really, really, really powerful. I think the implications that even hell is not a final destination is something that is deeply encouraging. I think that it also makes a lot of sense, because as far as I'm concerned, when Christ died on the cross, Christ did say, "It is finished." And he departed from his body and realigned with the collective unconscious, the collective consciousness of God, the God force, that he reemerged back into the wholeness of consciousness, which is what's represented to us as God. And during his time on the cross, he also accomplished a conquering and overcoming of not only death itself, but also hell as well. Okay. Now, according to the Christian text and its own cosmology of heaven and hell, G Hades was another term basically for afterlife. Okay, some people, especially over here in America, Hades is synonymous to hell, but Hades was just a general word for the spirit world. Okay, both saints and sinners went to Hades, both righteous and the unrighteous went to Hades. Okay, so Hades was just ancient man's term for an afterlife. Now, according to Christian cosmology, within Hades, within the spirit world, aka, was Abraham's bosom, and hell, which the scriptures say was separated by a great gulf. Okay, so the righteous existed within Abraham's bosom, and the unrighteous existed within hell. And the scriptures say that saints and sinners alike could see each other, that there was, despite there being a gap, there was proximity at the same time, enough proximity that the souls and the astral bodies of living people could witness each other in these dimensions that was separated by some line of demarcation, by some barrier that the scriptures, call a great gulf. And upon Christ dying, Christ went into Hades. Okay, he preached, freed what the scriptures called the captives. Okay, and that saints came out of the graves, that the graves opened up upon Christ's resurrection. Okay, that those who had been in Hades came out of Hades with, and I guess all those who had responded and received the gospel came with him. And the scriptures say that Christ overcame death. He took the keys of hell and he took away the sting of death. Okay. What's fascinating about that is, and I've said this before, you guys have heard me say this before, but man, according to the Christian text, Hades is wide open. Okay? Hell and heaven is wide open. People can come and people can go. Which leads me to this thought, that the only people sitting in hell are the people who are willfully there. They aren't there due to any divine judgment. They're not due because they're unredeemable. They're not there because hell is inescapable. They are willfully present in hell, probably for the same reasons that people who are living are willfully present within their own depression, which is rooted in shame and guilt. Both are deeply anchoring states of consciousness that permit you to deny healing, even if healing is accessible, even if healing is available. But when you have shame, which is just a really exacerbated extreme version of guilt, and self-loathing, shame will allow you and put you under the belief that you deserve what you're experiencing, because you are indeed unworthy. You are unworthy. You don't deserve to be happy. What you've done is abominable. What you've done is willfully and profoundly wicked. You don't deserve help. You deserve suffering. You deserve to be beat up on. You deserve to die. You feel ashamed to be loved. You feel ashamed to feel happy. Okay? Because you've already made a judgment call on your own behavior, on your own decision making, in a way that makes you a prisoner to your own mind. To your own mind. And there's nobody holding you there but you, not God and not the devil, but you. You. Shame is an extreme separation from God. And there are people in hell with the doors wide open who refuse to call out for salvation, who refuse to call out to Christ despite the agony of hell. Because a bigger part of them, despite the part of them that wants comfort and deliverance, simply believes that they're too bad and they've done too much to ever be loved. And when you literally believe this and you hold this as in your core, when you hold this belief in your heart, you would deny yourself. Think of the way that living people, because now we're talking about the deceased, we're talking about the souls of the condemned, but think about the way that people who hate themselves and people who have shame deny themselves even of being loved by their families. They deny themselves of being loved by their friends. They run away from intimacy. They run away from relationships of all kind. They don't allow anybody to be close to them. They don't feel worthy of anybody giving them anything. It ain't nothing worse than trying to give somebody who dealing with a bunch of damn shame a gift or doing something nice for them, honey, because they will almost sit there and talk your ass out of doing something. Oh no, you ain't got some. Oh no, I'm it's just like, can you shut the irony? Can you shut the hell up? Right? Can't shut the hell up in you, okay? So that you can receive the goodness thereof, okay? But people who dealing with shame don't feel worthy. They don't feel worthy. And there are people rooted in hell right now. And those gates are wide open. And they refuse to free themselves. They refuse to call upon the force that loves them the most, the heart of God, represented as Christ, represented as Yahshua, represented as whatever name you want to put on it. Because at the end of the day, it still is what it is, which is the heart and love of God. And people who are dealing with shame deny that light. And they run from that light like roaches when the kitchen light is turned on. And no, I ain't talking about my kitchen. Okay? So I thought that was really, really incredible. Now I'm gonna tell you this. I don't give a damn if hell is temporary, baby. I ain't trying to be there for a second, honey. I don't give a damn if the gates are open, honey. It's, hell is like the bad side of town. I know it's there. Uh-huh. And I know exactly how to get to the bad side of town, baby. Okay? But it ain't no reason for me to have to drive by, drive in, drive past, come visit. I'm good on the bad side of town. Mm-hmm. Even if I know I can drive through it, I don't need nothing. I'm good on my end. And that's how I feel about hell, honey. So when I talk to Christians and I bring this up and I get to talking to them about how they can even be free from hell, that souls can be from hell, honey. Christians get to seizuring and backflipping and all this shit, talking about, Christians are very invested in hell to the point that when they hear someone saying that, and this is not new, if you read any of the Gnostic Gospels, I believe is it in the Gospel of Judas? I think it's the Gospel of Judas. I believe it's in one of those apocryphal texts, but where Christ is talking about some of the secrets of heaven, and he tells one of his disciples that one of the secrets of heaven is that hell and that human souls stay within hell is not permanent. So this is not a new notion. This is not new age, honey. This what some may call a truth has been around for thousands of years, okay? And probably very hidden and protected by definitely the church, because the church is definitely in the business of controlling the truth, okay? The church would never want it to be known that hell is indeed escapable, and that you also do have a chance even after death. Because that would distort the power and the mental influence that the church desires to have over the masses, okay? Because the church is under the belief that its job is to domesticate humanity, to domesticate us. And a part of what really drives humans is fear, because fear is instinctual. Is instinctual. If you can get a person to fear something on any level or not, I mean, on any level, you right there have access to that human's will, okay? Because human beings, once they are afraid, will be open to whatever it is that will make them feel safe, okay? And if you are the manipulator in the situation, okay, you can manipulate someone out of fear by also giving them a false sense of security, because what you're even offering them that makes them feel safe may not even be something that's even really safe for them. They may actually be in more damn danger now that they're with you than anything else. And so the church is invested in hell, and telling you all that you're going to hell is a way to reinforce why the Christian religion is necessary in your life, okay? Why you need to be deeply obedient to the text, why you need to be deeply invested in the doctrine of Christianity, okay? And they reinforce that by telling you that if you don't, then you'll best hell wide open. And who in the hell wants to spend eternity in hell? Who wants to spend eternity in hell? Okay. Once you get people to playing around with shit like that, once you get people stirred up. Okay, hold on, you guys. Damn it. I'm sorry. Once you get people stirred up, I mean, you got people so scared of hell that they're willing to put their children out of the house. They're willing to put their drug addict child out of the house. They're willing to put their trans child out of the house. I mean, people have divorced people in the name of doing whatever the church thinks is best for them, denying whomever the church will tell them to deny, even if the scriptures say otherwise. Don't you find it interesting that as loving and inclusive as Christians are supposed to be, that Christians also can be some of the most cynical, can also be some of the most violent, aka the dark ages of the church, aka the crusades, okay? Religion has killed millions upon millions in the name of its God. Think about the recordings from September 11th, where those Muslims, I should say, not Muslims, but those particular Muslims, look at what they did in the name of Allah. In the name. Okay? So there's a darkness there when you get people to wrap up their pain body and wrap up their egotism under the guise of a religious affiliation, because that's when you would get a deep weaponizing of the religion that's supposed to be used to heal the world, will now be the thing used to divide it, to conquer it, and to ultimately destroy it. Okay, so it begs the question of what does it in fact really mean to be saved? Who are you saved from? What are you saved from? What does it mean to be saved? I said that they could send 100 to each family. Like, why are you making it hard? Christianity was organized by King James for control, one God, one king, one country. That's why they tried to destroy and kill off all other religions. Do you think there are different levels of hell? Like Dante's Inferno, I do think that there are different expressions of the hell astral plane. I believe that one version of hell is utter and total darkness. It's just literally the abyss. It's empty and void of all things. It's oblivion. It's nothingness. And well, I shouldn't say oblivion. But outer darkness is one of the versions of hell. I think that oblivion is another version of hell as well, which is a total destruction of your soul altogether. It is just literally zero consciousness. It's like what you imagine when you try to think about where you were before you were born, how there's just nothing there. You're just nothing. There's no existence, no self-awareness whatsoever. But I think that oblivion is what's going to happen to the worst of the wicked, that they're going to experience a totality, like a destruction, a total destruction. I believe all the other people who are going to get their share in hell are redeemable. So they're just getting their ass spanked and getting purified for a little while, okay, so that they can be realigned with the Lord. But I believe that oblivion is also one of the punishments or the consequences of a soul that's so dense that is ultimately a reprobate. It's irreparable, kind of like software. If you get a virus on your computer, and if that virus has been there for too long, that it's corroded your system in such a way that you ultimately just need a whole new motherboard. You know, there ain't even enough antivirus, programs we can pump into your phone or your tablet or your computer to save the child. You just better off getting a new one, honey. This virus been here for too long. It's too powerful. It's gained access to too much of the device, that the device is ultimately going to be rendered useless. Okay. Maybe the people who experience annihilation in that way are psychopaths, serial killers, psychos, maniacs, people whose awareness is so distorted and deranged that there isn't any potential for redemptiveness. They just need to go bloop. So I believe also, and I do believe in a fire and a brimstone version of hell, but my interpretation of the fire is not, the fire and brimstone version of hell is not about being in a furnace per se, even though that's what your consciousness is going to perceive it as. I believe that the flames of hell are actually the purifying properties of the Holy Spirit. When I think about the fire and brimstone version of hell, I think about how sometimes what you put a contaminated needle through, if you want to purify it, you stick the contaminated into the fire, and you use the fire to purify the damaged or corrupted end of that needle. And so I look at the fire and brimstone as the gnashing of teeth, all of that. I mean, of course, if you are the needle and you are conscious as you're being dipped into fire, of course, no matter what the hell the context is for your ass being on fire, even if it's for your own good to be on fire, bitch, it ain't gonna be enjoyable. So even though that fire has a purpose, even though that location has a purpose, it doesn't take away from the fact that it would be a brutal ass experience to be consciously purified in the flames of hell. But nonetheless, I think the lesser of the two evils is to temporarily withstand being motherfucking purified in the flames of hell and eventually being brought to scream out for salvation rather than to be riddled with fucking guilt and to self-will yourself to be there eternally, honey. If it takes the flame of hell to get me to ask the Lord for help, then you know what? So goddamn be it. I will take that for 200 Jeopardy, okay? I would much rather experience hell temporarily to get to God than to just simply be in hell. Okay, for all of my immortal, eternal ass life. But that's just me. Oh my God. That's what I seen this when I attempted suicide. Haley, okay. Hey, Suki, what's going on, sugar? But another said everyone will get a chance. I have always used the same analogy many times. Oh my God, what I do to fix it. What analogy is that? We have weakened our immune systems, and if we keep it up, there would be nothing to help us. Yeah, you might need to come through, honey. You might need to come through and join the live, honey. I might need to drop the link. But I also, I have a business call that came in, and I am nowhere near finished with my commentary. So, and I have at least 40 minutes worth of commentary to continue with, you know? But I also don't want to be unprofessional. So I feel like I'm between a rock and a damn hard place. I'm mentally ill. I have done things that I can't undo. But you know what, Haley? There is still grace for you, sweetie. And I do understand like what you mean. A lot of people have done things out of things that they can't control, out of versions of themselves that they weren't able to control at the time. Lots of people have done damaging things to their lives, even just out of being young, being immature, being low vibrating, have done despicable things. But if you're here today and you're in this chat, whatever you've done, it didn't cost you your life. That means that there's a lot of redemptive potential on your life, and you get to live and exist and go forward now in a way that's much different from the version of yourself that did those things at some point in time to hurt yourself. So you don't have to apologize, as Perp says, honey. There's no blueprint to being alive. We are going to make mistakes, even with the strongest intention to do the right thing. Okay, none of us were given a blueprint on life. None of us were born in perfection. None of us were born in unrighteousness. Hell, depending on which religion you identify with, some of them say you were born directly in sin, which means you were born to be bad, ultimately, which then makes life a journey of learning how to be the healed version of yourself. Okay. And that's all human beings. All human beings. We all have things that we are apologetic about. We all have things that, if you had a time machine, you would go back and change. We all have things that we're not so proud of, even if it weren't in action, but just ways we felt, ways we thought, ways we behaved. So you're not alone, Haley. You are just wrestling up against the human condition in which all human beings suffer from. Okay? And nobody is perfect. We're not going to be. Life is a process and a complex journey of moving through because you call it a mental illness, but for me, Haley, I'm going to say all of humanity is suffering from a mental illness, and that mental illness is egotism. I know that we have a medical world that is going to label certain things as mentally ill, but to be honest, I would say that all of humanity is mentally ill. We're all dealing with a distortion within our perception created by our ego. Apostle Paul talks about how this ego self, this cardinal self, this anti-self It's almost like an opposing government to the divine government within you, that even when you have a desire to do good, that you will still be wrecked and at war with this aspect of yourself that wants to do wrong. And that's a part of the human condition. This classic depiction of good and evil in our lives. It's not happening outside of us, it's happening within us. We are both the villain and the victim. We're both the bad guy and the superhero. We're both heaven and hell. That both opposing forces, that the duality of self is imposed and intermeshed with one another. All the good shit and all the ugly shit, because the pendulum swings equally to the left as it does to the right. Thanks, bless you so much just for helping us this healing. Yeah, you have to don't more so think about what you've done. More so think about what you want done now as a result of what you have done. Because our choices also lead to information. You can't have information without making choices, because choices, whether they give you the results you want or give you the results you don't want, provide information. Even if a choice says, "Oh, that was bad, I hurt someone. Oh, that was bad, I hurt myself. Oh, that was bad, I feel fucked up for doing that. Oh, that was bad." That's the information that creates an awareness, and that informs us about what I do want. Because honestly, if you even are able to look at the things that you've done, Haley, and even call them bad, what that lets me know is that you're not even bad. Because bad people don't feel bad about the bad things that they do. Actual bad people don't feel bad. So the fact that you are able to look at something in your life and feel a way about it, to feel negative about it, what that tells me is that you have a conscience. Have a conscience. And having a conscience is an attribute of the Holy Spirit. You have a conscience. You're not bad, Haley. You may be confused. You may be broken. You may be without the motivation and the will you need to make better decisions than what you do. But you're not bad. You just need the affirmation, and you need the support. And more importantly, you need a belief in yourself that you ain't finished yet. But you ain't finished. That in you still lies the ability to make an overall difference in your own life. And then to actively work toward aligning with those supportive thoughts of yourself. Making an effort to align yourself with the things that inspire you about life. Getting the discipline and the support to help you will yourself, okay? To leave behind choices, which creates a legacy that you can be proud of, that you can be at peace with. That's all. That's all choices are, is filled with information. And I don't think we have to sit in self-loathing and deal with guilt about what we've done, because multiple versions of ourselves exist. It's also okay to say, I know that I did that, but that's not also who I am. It's not who I am. Because sometimes, depending on what our experiences are and the cards we've been dealt with, unfortunately, sometimes we end up a product of the cards we've been dealt with. And since we didn't per se ask for the cards that we've been dealt with, there's a lot of grace and room for open-mindedness if you found yourself at one point in time in your life being a product of the cards that you were dealt with. Okay? If a young boy is being raised by his mother along with 5 other siblings in the projects without a proper male mentor in his life, and he's trying to fill that hole by rebelling and being wild through promiscuity, through joining gangs, and then through the joining of gangs in order to fill a hole in his heart, he ends up living a life of crime where he's stolen, he's beaten, he's even murdered. Okay? And now that young boy is now a 40-year-old adult male who has changed his life. Okay? It's okay for him to acknowledge that, yes, I was a delinquent and I stole and I abused women and I abused humanity and I did those things, but that is not who I was. Because most of the time when we are not acting like ourselves and not being our true selves, it's simply because we've gotten confused and ended up as a product of dysfunction, wherever that dysfunction comes from, whoever taught us dysfunction, or rather, we are born with a part of our brains that is not functioning accordingly, such as suffering from a mental illness. But sometimes also what makes our mental ill is heartbreak. Sometimes what makes us mentally ill is betrayal. And out of that sadness, out of that anger, out of betrayal, out of feeling inferior for whatever reason we feel inferior, we act enraged or we take on a persona of the bad guy and then hurt people start hurting people. And when we get better, it's okay to let those things go. When we get better, it's okay to acknowledge who we were and what we did because we're better today. And that wasn't who we was. We were just a product. And every person can take but so much before sometimes you just give in to being a product of your circumstances, which is a fuck everybody because everybody fucks me. Fuck you because you fuck me. I hate you because y'all hate me. So sometimes instead of us turning that anger inward, sometimes to protect ourselves and to defend ourselves and to bring some sense of pseudo justice to ourselves, we will try to destroy the people that we feel are responsible for the condition that we're in. And that may feel good for a time. Going on a revenge tour may feel real good for a time. Doing unto others as they have done unto you in the moment can feel gratifying. But it's not who we truly are. And when we really heal up and do the inventory and do the work and drop the ego and resolve the pain body, that's when we're able to acknowledge that that was out of my ego. That hurting you was a product of my ego. That acting that way and also bleeding out on people who didn't even cut me was my ego. Was my ego. But you got to be healed in order to do that. And nobody's healed just to be healing. See, I always tell people who study up under me that Inner healing is not like physical healing. You could get a cut on your arm right now and not even do anything, and it'll heal on its own because your body has a consciousness alone. It's body consciousness. It can heal without your help. Why do you think that your eyes are blinking automatically? Why do you think that your heart is beating automatically? Because your body has a consciousness all by itself. It's moving blood through your veins. It's moving through your digestive system. It's operating your digestive system. It's operating your liver. It's operating all of these involuntary bodily functions are happening without you consciously participating. Mm-hmm. 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 And I kind of forgot why I said that. Mm-hmm. I sure did forget. Why did I say that? Why did I go into consciousness and it being involuntary? I was going somewhere with that. Involuntary. Oh, because you cannot heal. Because your body doesn't require your effort really to heal. But emotional and mental healing requires manual labor. It requires manual labor, which is why I cringe when people say, time heals all things. No, it doesn't. It'll heal your body, but that's about it. You can die with a broken heart. You can die in your resentment. You can take your sadness to the grave. You can take your hopelessness to the grave. Time does not, in fact, time only heals the body, but it will not heal anything else. Everything else will require your effort. It will require. Inner healing requires you to get in the car with it. Your broken heart is going to require you to get in the car with it. Your guilt is going to require you to get in the car with it. There are certain things we can only do alone, and there are certain things we can only do for ourselves. And healing requires a conscious choice. A conscious choice. I'm going to have to consciously make an effort to do better. Doing better is not going to happen in time. Doing better ain't going to happen because I prayed for it. Doing better ain't going to happen because I want to do better. What you actually choose to do is going to become your condition. Not what you want to do, not what you hoping to do, not what you told them you wanted to do, not what you intended to do, but what you actually do. What becomes a verb, what becomes an action in your life is what's going to become your condition. You have to get in the car with your healing. And what grieves me sometimes is waiting on so many people to hear so many people just waiting. And they literally think it's going to fall out of the sky. They literally think that healing is just going to descend upon them like a dove. They literally just think, I know God got me. I'm just going, I know it'll be all right. And I can't tell you that I've been watching people for 15, 10, 20, 25 years still waiting for things to be all right. Because they think this is a waiting game instead of an action game. And I grieve for those people because I know they're going to die waiting on something that could have happened at any moment for themselves if they just would have got in the car with their healing. If they just would have went hand in hand, walked hand in hand with their healing. This is probably one of the greatest tragedies of humanity, is somehow, some way, we've been led, we've been conditioned, we've come to believe. And maybe it's because we watch the body heal without our help, that we just logically conclude that my broken heart will heal too without my help, that my anger will heal too in time without, because maybe we think that the body is doing all of it. So we've come into a misunderstanding about the way that we have to approach our woundedness. That ache in your neck, yeah, it ain't gonna be there tomorrow. But that hole in your soul for being adopted, that's gonna be there when you wake up. Yeah, that pain in your foot right now, that just came over you all of a sudden, it won't be there an hour from now. But the anger you feel from that divorce, it will be. Yeah, that sharp pain you felt through your chest, it won't be there in the next 75 seconds. But the frustration you feel or felt from compromising yourself with that nigga you gave your all to, yeah, that shame and that guilt, it'll be there tomorrow. See, you're gonna have to actually do something about that. And we have a lot of help. We have the help of God. We have the help of our loved ones. I think that this is probably one of the best times that human beings can live within as it relates to mental health, because we now have so many resources afforded to us. Sometimes I think, I don't know how the hell medieval people dealt with it. Sometimes I don't know how indigenous and ancient people dealt with it, dealt with depression. Because I think about what it means to be in America in the 21st century with YouTube, with all of this information. We have libraries filled with self-help books, and all that is required is a library card. I think about how accessible knowledge is. I think about how accessible resources are. And I say, my God, this is one of the most incredible times in human history as it relates to mental health, because people have so many options now to learn how to cope. And I don't really believe in coping. You know, I go for the gusto personally. I go for straight healing. I try not to settle for coping. Because the coping to me is I appreciate coping, you know, if it's just, you know, if that's all, you know, if that's the only result that can be mustered at the moment. But, you know, coping, while it is the lesser of the two evils, coping is much better than just being a flat out victim of circumstances. But at the same time, coping also is the idea of learning how to live alongside my anti-self, rather than healing, which is learning to live without my anti-self. Okay? Coping is the art of learning relationship between you and your shadow self. Healing is the divorcing between you and your shadow self. One is marriage and relationship. One is total divorce. And I think that, you know, if you aren't afforded the resources, you know, or if a person just has but so much strength to give to a situation, I'm able to appreciate coping too, because like I said, it's much better than just lying down and taking some shit. Learning to work with your addiction, learning to manage your, I literally hate these type of words, manage addiction, but I get it, you know. Um, Coping with your addiction, cringy, but I get it. But I also feel like our medical community has so much to learn. So much to learn because our medical community isn't yet spiritual. It's purely scientific. It's purely masculine in its thinking. It's purely mathematical, and that's one of the issues. It's because it's without the metaphysics, and the metaphysics is what really brings it all home. So it's impartial. It's impartial, but it's better than just lying down and taking it. I can certainly agree to that. Sometimes I see my daughter suffer from being an empath. I have tried to pray over her. I love her as she is. Empaths go through a lot. And I was just talking to one of my friends about that. It's funny you say that, Steph. I was just talking to one of my friends yesterday saying, I've done some videos. You guys should check out some. You guys go through my videos on YouTube. I've done some videos on empaths. I want to do more videos on the empathic nature, but being an empath is hard. Coming to understand the empathic nature, to control empathic ability, it's a lot. And the fact that we don't live in a society that's aware of empaths, really, like now there seems to be something happening. Okay, there seems to be spaces within academia for, you know, empaths, and so there seems to be a growing movement that is kind of becoming aware of the empathic nature, but it is very, very difficult. I believe that being an empath is what kind of made being a teenager for me kind of really dark-sided. I don't think I would have experienced my teenage years the way that I did had I not been an empath. I think I would have felt a bit more internally stable and grounded. But because of my empathic nature, I got tossed to and fro my life. As a result, that empathic shit wore my ass out, had me suffering from all type of insomnia, all types of depression, all types of just a disinterest in life. It was a lot. And when you don't live in a society that understands that, nobody knows that's what you are. The people around you, the spaces you're in, are not trained to provide the right things for you, because empathic people have to have a whole different curriculum. They have to have a whole different lifestyle. Like their love languages have to be very unique to them. There's I call it a life diet. Like empaths can't live the life regular people live, and the things that work for everyday people do not work for empathic people. The remedies that work for everyday people do not work for empathic people. The type of love that everyday people can value does not work for empaths, because of how powerful the empathic nature is. To whom much is given, much is required. And empaths can be a powerful vessel of love, but on the back end of that, empaths also require a lot of fuel, because a lot moves through them, a lot comes out of them. Every great healer, every martyr was an empath. All matter of fact, you can only martyr if you are a empath. Whether that be Christ, whether that be King, whether that be X, empaths can only make that level of sacrifice. Empaths are the only people that can give that much of themselves selflessly and unconditionally. But the way that empaths have to be restored also requires power and passion, because empaths give from a place of passion. They give from a place of selflessness. And so they would tear themselves down to build up the world around them, but also they be left in pieces afterwards. And if they're not, and if they don't have anyone backing them, an empath can remain in pieces. And when empaths are broken, that's a whole nother level of shadow self, baby. Y'all think y'all done seen some crazy bitches. You ain't seen crazy until you are dealing with a frustrated or an angry empath. You're dealing with a hopeless empath. When the empaths crossed into the dark side, oh baby, you ain't seen dark yet, bitch. You ain't seen dark yet. A dark empaths make the prisoners look like saints. Okay? Empaths make our regular criminals, our regular felons, okay, look like good, wholesome Christians. There is a beautiful side to being an empath, but there's also a very dark side. And so I'm very appreciative of this growing movement within psychology circles that are now kind of taking on the concept of empaths. And there's an education and an academia and an attitude and an awareness about empaths within our society. And I think that we're on the right path and that more will be afforded to empaths as we begin to like entertain and acknowledge these people within our world, within our community. I will come for you if you come for me and mine. And that's how it always is. Yeah. But that's why I'm in the mess now. I care too much. And that's the story of every empath life, baby. We have made a plum fool out of ourselves. And it seems that we can't help it either. That's the story of all of our lives, Jasmine. All empaths, we have made a plum fool out of ourselves in the name of love. And can't seem to really help it. As foolish as we feel, we just can't help but love the way we love and to care the way that we care. But, and see, I'm gonna have to change the title of this video because this done went so far left of where the hell I started. However, I'm gonna have to I really am going to have to come back and do a whole segment, honey, because I want to give y'all the rundown down on empaths, baby, the ins and the outs, honey, because that literally requires a whole video all by itself. Haley, I absolutely delight in working with others like myself. Absolutely, purpose amazing, honey. My connection with the T creator has sustained me, and being able to ground and use the nature the creator has given me has been so helpful for me. Yes, spirituality. Now, every empath requires a different kind of diet to be on in life. Different things work for different empaths based upon culture, based upon etc. For me, spirituality has been major in terms of grounding my empathic ability and my empathic nature. And it has been trial and error to get here. Trial and error with myself. And it's been hard, okay? Which is why every time I talk about spirituality, I tell people, spirituality is not fluff. This is the hardest work you're ever going to do, period. You have an intersection of being an empath, honey. Learning how to be grounded, learning how to get past the ego, learning how to resolve your pain body, pushing through your trauma, liberating yourself, owning your voice, learning how to have a voice, learning how to love yourself, learning how to be masterful of self, really, because that's really what spirituality is. Spirituality is the art of really mastering self, mastering the mind, body, and soul connection. And being masterful at it, because that's when you really get the most out of your human experience. Your human spiritual experience is striving for mastery. It's really what opens you up to the joys and the beauty of life and your capacity to love. But to get there, empaths have all, if you are an empath, what it means, and if you're struggling, it's probably because you are already enduring a series of massive ego deaths. Empaths have a lot of them. Because while we also have the ability to be some of the greatest people that anybody will ever meet and come to know, once again, when empaths start to become hurt though, and they start to identify too much with their humanness, empaths can also have some of the biggest, they can indirectly end up with some of the biggest egos, which the universe responds to powerfully. If you are an empath, because I'm gonna say this right now, and I know it's gonna be a unanimous agreement. Do the empaths in the chat feel like you can't ever get away with shit? Do you feel like every time you try to go left, you get your ass whooped by the universe? Do you feel like if you do, why is it that when you do the least little thing, honey, it seems like ain't no grace given to you, baby? You get that ass spanked right on cue. Right on cue. And do you know why that is? Do you know why that is? Do you know why your empathic ass seem to not be able to ever get away with being low vibrating like everybody else, honey? Because we be wanting to join the race too, honey. Make no mistake about it, world. We empaths, oh, sometimes, yeah, we be wanting to be with the shits too. We got egos too. We be wanting to fight and fuss and be selfish and slam the door and not help nobody and fuck the world, screw the world can kiss my ass. Yeah, we be wanting to be with the shits too. And sometimes, I know for me, a lot of times I couldn't even give credit to myself for doing the right thing in wrong situations because of my own merit. Sometimes, most of the goddamn time, to be honest, I was only doing the right thing. It's because I knew if I did the wrong thing, I wouldn't get away with it, because the universe don't let me get away with shit. So sometimes I'm good by default, damn it. I wish I could take all the credit for being mature in situations. I wish I could take all the goddamn credit sometimes. No, sometimes it's just because, bitch, I know I ain't gonna get away with it. So I'm gonna not cuss your ass out right now. I'm gonna not do unto you as you have done to my motherfucking ass, okay? Because I know that I ain't gonna get away with it, honey. That big mama is gonna clamp down on my motherfucking ass, okay? So I'm just showing restraint out of not wanting to suffer bigger consequences and repercussions for my actions than getting into this kerfuffle with you, okay, which will make me feel good in the moment. But I know that I'll pay for it immediately, and also pay for it in a way that I'm going to feel is unfair, because God does what? Chastise those closest to the throne. Who's the closest to the throne? Empathic people are. And when we act like we don't know better, and when we want to act like a heathen, and we want to be tit for tat, our lives become upset. The karma comes around viciously. Because once again, to whom much is given, much is required. And it ain't, people say it ain't fair. It ain't fair. It's not fair that everybody else can be with the hoopla, and everybody else cannot give a damn, and I have to always give a damn. And nobody else got to have to give, but I always got to damn give. And nobody else got to turn the other goddamn cheek, but I got to turn the other goddamn cheek. Once again, this is a misunderstanding about how cute it is to be unique. See, there's a price to pay for everything. And just like I was saying in my Jamal Bryant video, that heavy is the head that wears the crown. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. When people look at people's capacity to love and people's capacity to be righteous, or people's capacity to be admirable for whatever reason they are, honey, that's what it looks like on the surface. We make it look easy. But what people don't see is the sacrifices that empathic people make, and the constant ego and the constant putting aside of our egos that we have to do in order to show up great. Nobody knows how you had to cry in silence and take your anger out in a room with only you and God in it, so that you can leave your house and show up in this conversation or in this public space in a way that makes you look classy and poised and sophisticated and mature, so that you can operate in a higher place. Nobody knows about what it takes, okay, to be betrayed and to let somebody walk away scot, or what it appears to be letting them walk away scot-free. What it takes to be able to do that. What it takes to deal with someone lying on you, and you resisting either lying back on them out of spite, or you resist airing their ass out like wet laundry, okay, out of retaliation. They don't see what it takes. What it takes. What it takes. Nobody knows. These people that will look at you and compliment you for your traits. These people who admire you for being, you know what? Empaths always happen to be everybody's favorite. Empaths always end up as the best friend. Empaths always end up as the great church member. They always end up standing out because of how great their humanity is. And it's easy for people to appreciate them for who they are. But nobody ever really knows what it takes to be the person that is being the best friend, to arise at the best. Empaths naturally feel obligated to aspire to be the best. We don't believe in being mediocre in any kind of a way, and that can be a gift and a curse. Our natural attitude is to make ourselves a wonderful experience. Whether that's being an exceptional worker, an exceptional employee, whether that's being an exceptional relative, whether that's being an exceptional wife, whether that's being an exceptional child, whether that's being an exceptional lover. Empaths naturally have high standards. But because empaths live in a world where the average person is not, the general public are not aspiring to be their best, oftentimes empaths feel very shortchanged in all of their relationships. They always feel they're giving their best, and they are aware that everybody else is not. And so sometimes a growing resentment can reside in empathic people because they never feel like they're getting quite what they deserve. They don't feel like they're quite getting what they put out, because they don't realize that they naturally, yield to a higher standard, a higher self-standard than the average person does. So you have an exceptional person being in proximity to a mediocre individual. And that can be frustrating. As loving as empathic people also feel deeply alone because of this. Because empaths also kind of measure love by the way they love. Empaths, because they have a high love drive, that can indirectly shape their own expectations of other people because they know how much more can be given. And sometimes you can end up mad as hell when it's not, because you know a person could have did more. You know they could have been greater. You know they could have put more thought into it. Because empaths put more thought into everything. And so sometimes our expectations for ourselves, we project onto other people, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, because I believe that people need to stop living as their mediocre selves. As an empath, I get angry too, which is why I have reduced my fucking inner circle down to me and about a good 5 other goddamn people, honey, because I give too much and it gets exhausting and it gets tiring. And the more people you have in your life as a person who's going to give a lot naturally, the more of yourself you're going to be giving away constantly. And that can break you down. Especially once again, because you're not also surrounded by other empaths. And so there's nobody to build you up. And so it means that it's up to you to keep yourself afloat. And if you got to be the one to keep yourself afloat, then that means that you're going to have to manage your life better, manage your relationships better. You're going to have to learn to ease up sometimes, and you're going to have to learn how to check your expectations, learning how to meet people where they are, learning how to appreciate what people do give, even if it is true that they could give more. For me, my biggest hurdle over the past few years of my life has been learning how to appreciate what the people in my life give me, because I was an empath who used to project. And if you wasn't giving me what I was giving you, I didn't cut people off, but secretly and privately, there would be a tension in me. Some part of me would side eye the person. There would be a feeling of, or a willingness to believe that the people around me, while they appreciated me, they didn't truly care. That is the way I would feel. And that was based upon the fact that they were willing to be recipients of a love that they weren't willing to give. And that made me question their character. That made me question their integrity. Which is why I keep my foot on people who complain that, well, not everybody is like you. Well, if that's the case, why don't people ever stay away from the people not like them? It's so easy for mediocre ass people to open their arms. They will allow an empath to give them everything and then turn around and make an excuse for themselves when they just want to give and make a half-ass attempt in return. If I'm not allowed to expect you to be just as present for me as I am for you, you should be integral enough to not even be a recipient. Don't allow yourself to receive something that you're not willing to give. That's my attitude about it. Because I find it very selfish that you will allow somebody to work for you and to love on you and to be there for you and to give you the best part of them while you tell them to settle for a part of you. You tell them to settle for you while the empath is earning you, but you want the empath to settle for you. I'm working hard to be everything that I need to be to you so that I can earn because empaths work for what they ask for. Empaths don't expect anything freely because empaths show up ready to do the laboring. We desire to earn it. That's why we put our back into everything. We are earners. But the world is full of takers. The world is full of takers. And so this can create an interesting dynamic between empaths and the families they're born into, empaths and their relationships they attract, empaths and the societies that they exist within. Because empaths love everybody, but empaths are also aware of how full of shit everybody is. Love ya, and you're totally full of shit. Love you, and you are a lazy, selfish motherfucker. Love you. Some empaths are too nice to say it. Some empaths have grown to be very direct. But yeah, that empath dynamic is very, very fascinating. And it's been one of the most rewarding identities to be able to have. But it's also something that could have easily took my life. And I know that every other empath in this chat can relate. Being an empath then damn near took your fucking life. And being an empath then damn near drove you to suicide at times. Being an empath has driven you to despair and utter anguish. While it's also at the same time afforded you to see some of the most exceptionally beautiful things in life worth living for. Empaths have had to bear witness to the worst of life and the very best of life. They've been able to bear witness to the total glory and love of God, but also are deeply aware and bear witness to the worst of humanity. Their eyes are wide open, their hearts are wide open, and their hearts have witnessed it all. Witness things that other people would never have to, because this ability to witness the extreme of the polarity is unique to the empath. That's why empaths oftentimes, like, people know them, but people don't really know them because people don't even have the capacity to even achieve that level of intimacy with an empath. So most empaths are carrying around us, even if they have, I have lots of friends, I have lots of family, but I think that all empaths also have a certain sense of loneliness that they carry with them, because people really don't know you. It really almost takes one to really know one. It takes an empath to really know an empath. When empaths are in relationships to other people, they can be in those relationships and they can be reasonably satisfied with those relationships, but they also aware that the people that they're in relationship to don't really know them. Don't really know them. It is just a depth that, you know, that's just naturally present in empaths. It's just not present in everyday people. Everyday people only strive but for so much. Everyday people only, like most of the way they relate to other people is just very surface at best. Empaths have a deep desire for intimacy. Not only do we want to really fully reveal ourselves to someone, we like to fully see other people. Most empaths are also lonely because they strive for intimacy, and most people don't strive for that. Most empaths just kind of opt out of having surface relationships altogether. They'd just rather be solo. Like, if we can't really do this thing, let's not do it at all. Like, if you can't really be in my life and really let your guard down, if you can't really open up, if you can't really let me in, ain't really no point. That's kind of the attitude of an empath. We're going for the height of the human experience. What Purple's saying, I used to always say to people, you only see what I want you to see, and I learned to stop doing that. Yep, I agree. That's very true. I'm a Scorpio. Oh, I'm a Scorpio empath, Gina. Baby, that's a whole nother. Right. So then you couple in not only the empath shit, but then you empathic Sagittarius, empathic Virgo, empathic. I mean, it just gets more complex and more complex and more complex. Okay. I'm just sick of people at this point. I'd rather have my fur baby and nature. Yep, the story of every empath life, child. Give me my dog and some trees. Give me a house out in the goddamn country, no neighbors. I don't want another neighbor for 30 miles, bitch. To the left and to the right, bitch. 30 miles of separation. Mm-hmm. That's empaths, honey. We dream of fields, baby. Our big ass house and just fields and no human being in sight. All butterflies and ladybugs. I'm a Sagittarius empath. Oh my God. Yes, God. Father Jesus. I actually had a relationship that made me like being fully all the way me. And I was like, this can be painful, but I like this version of myself way more. Yeah. Most of the empath twin flames. Most of our twin flames, most of the like romantic lovers in our lives that have been the most impactful to us have been those lovers that have been able to like really see us, because rarely does that happen. And that is an amazing feeling when you are with somebody who truly sees you. This can also what be so devastating when a relationship to that person doesn't work out. This can devastate an empath, because the empath rarely ever feels understood to begin with, and an empath rarely ever is able to really show up fully and naked while also being loved for that. And when that's ripped away from their lives, that can create a profound sense of loss as well. It's 11/11. Damn. Thanks for calling that out, Divine Phoenix. I'm a Pisces empath with Moon, Rising, Venus, Uranus, and Neptune and Capricorn. That saved me. Mercury in Aquarius too. Jesus, those are a lot of intersections, logos. 11/11/11/11. Yes, God. We Scorpios are something else, not gonna lie. Purple. Yes, we are. My daughter is an empathic Aries who loves animals, especially cats. She said she will be the cat lady. I can't have any animals. I got 9 grandchildren. You're right. Yeah. No more, honey. You need no more sugar. Y'all, I gotta go. I gotta return this call. I ain't even been to sleep yet. I'm talking out the side of my damn neck. If you have not joined, you see, it's only 34 of us empaths in the chat, right? This is why I don't like doing these type of conversations on my main platform, because it messes up my algorithm. when I can't keep a consistency in my viewership, YouTube, well, all social media algorithms are so sensitive like this. This is why you guys will notice, like, you will see maybe content creators kind of stick with a certain story for a long time, and it's because the way that these platforms are, like, if you don't keep your viewership level, like once they're like fluctuations are horrible. Like when your channel fluctuate, when your viewership fluctuates, like if you have content that's like in the thousands and then you start doing content that only puts you in the few hundreds of views, it'll start tanking your platform. YouTube won't recommend the content. Your channel ends up shadow banned. It's like all type of weird ass like causes and effect. So the reason why I don't like doing a lot of spiritual talk anymore is because like these type of videos only going to get a few hundred views. People, the majority of my subscribers have subscribed to me because they like me as an entertainer. And they like my train of thought when I couple it with something that is relevant in pop culture, which is why when I go to talk about things in the secular world, I not only try to just talk about them in a secular fashion, but I also couple kind of, you know, the way I think about things in with secular news. But if I just get up here and be spiritual, those videos will be in the hundreds. And I actually don't give a damn about that. But I only have to fucking give a damn because it actually impacts my channel. Like if there was no consequences and repercussions, then I wouldn't give a damn about getting up here and talking about spirituality, even if those videos only got 34 fucking views on them. Like that would be fine for me. But the fact that it throws off my entire fucking platform is nuts. I don't know if YouTube creators thought that this was just a way to keep content creators on their feet, or what the hell it was, but literally like social media algorithms are some of the strangest fucking check and balance systems that I have ever had to interface with in my life. Like it's literally a fucking headache. So I prefer these type of conversations in my Patreon because I get to not care about viewership and just get to just kind of be true to my audience and just do Patreon. But YouTube, you know, it's a whole nother goddamn ball game. That's why I kept saying I should have did this in Patreon. Okay. Hey Davion, just stopping by. Hey Charles, a lot to show some support. What's going on, Charles? I haven't seen you here before, sir. Are you new to the platform? Charlie. Oh, Charlie. What's going on, Charlie? Yes, Davion. Had to get it right. Thank you for stopping by. Where are you stopping by from? And hello to all my new subbies too. We got like, I think 146 new subbies. So that's super dope. Will you be back today? I probably won't because I haven't slept. I've been up since yesterday, you guys. So I got to return this business phone call. Then I'm going to take my ass to bed. And then I got some activities tonight and tomorrow that have me preoccupied. So I won't be seeing you guys till next week, which is only 2 days away. So I won't be going that long. 35 watching, 25 likes. Get these likes up, y'all. Y'all heard, yeah. Get these likes up, y'all. Let me see here. We will share. I like it all. I have been following you since you and Larry. We need your channel. Oh, thank you so much, Steffi. Oh my God, you found me with the old Larry, honey. Yes, God. Well, I'm happy to have you here and thank you for sharing. I was going to private this video, to be honest. Before I leave, if I do keep it up, what can I change the title to, you guys? Because that's another thing I have a habit of doing. I always end up titling my video because there'd be like a place I want to go, but then I end up always going like far off from where the hell I initially started at. What can I title this video as? Because we did talk about NDEs in the earlier part of the video. Then we kind of got into a little bit of like the spiritual discussion, and then we ended it on like a lot of empath stuff. Empaths. Thank you, Morgan. Happy B-Day. Oh, happy B-Day, Charlie. You are a Sagittarius. No, I'm not new. I changed my username. I'm in Charleston. You're in Charleston. I'm in Columbia. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. What was your previous username, Charlie? Left, right. But you know what? I might change it to left. Going left. Went left. The went left live. I'll figure it out. But let me go. I'm about to fall the hell out as I speak, and I still gotta return some damn phone calls. But I love you all. I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. It was really nice enjoying it, having this conversation. Sign up to the Patreon if you guys like this type of stuff. Patreon is $5 a month. If you guys want more spiritual content and you guys kind of want to talk more kind of about just kind of life and healing and pain and moving through all of this stuff, we can do this all day long in the Patreon. And you guys can come on and we can get personal and talk about some things, and I can get all up in your business, you get all up in mine, and we can just work through our stuff together. Child, a lot going on. So all of that is in the description bar. Oh my God, thank you so much, Miss McBain, for the Cash App. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Now you guys are going to force me to leave this video up, and I really don't want to. But you're going to force me to leave it up. I missed the show. Damn. But it's all right. I'm going to leave it up for the playback. I mean, for the replay. You know, we just talking it out here today. Thank you so much, Ms. McBain. That Cash App saved this video, because I was about to be like, hey, everybody who got to be a part of it, you know, you guys got to see it and bear witness. But now people done missed the show. So I'll leave it up for the replay. So hopefully you guys, I'll leave it up over the weekend. It probably will be gone. I probably will just private it and put it in the Patreon over by Monday. But if you guys want to see it, you know, over the weekend, I'll leave it up for the replay. We should meet up. Oh, yes, we have to, darling. I'm always down for a meet up. I was Angela Coakley. That name sounds familiar. Angela Coakley. I think I've seen an Angela in my stream before. Okay, Charleston, push through. Please don't take it down. You have helped me. The Went Left Live. We love you. Okay, it's the Went Left Live. All right. Well, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful weekend. I would definitely be seeing you guys next week, honey, to get into some teams. Check out the gentleman's panel. We had a great dialogue, honey. Really, really, really enjoyed it. And subscribe to all the fellas if you guys have not. Rebel, Official King Payne, Captivating Christian, Jay Wilson. We will be having a Christmas gentleman's panel too. So you guys will be seeing us Thursday on Jay Wilson's platform and all of that good jazz. And if there's anything that you guys want to discuss, you can always leave your recommendations and suggestions in my comment sections, or you can email me at CONSCIOUZTV as well. Anything you want me to bring to the platform, anybody you want me to talk to, anybody you want me to interview, you know, I am here to serve you all. So I will catch you all later. Love you. Bye-bye.